I'm going to be reading an article from the local paper on domestic violence and what governments, federal and state, are seeking to do about this. But first, I want to quote from the Word of God from the Scriptures. And it says in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 28, "So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies." Men are to love their wives. Now that sounds simplistic, but let me read to you this article here. Domestic violence victims have Regional Services Minister Mark Colton, that's our federal member, in their corner as a supporter, with the Parks MP confirming the issue has been raised in numerous conversations with constituents in his electorate during the past 11 years. Mr. Colton says he wholeheartedly supports those who have fallen victim to domestic violence-related assaults, which increased by 63.4% in the Debo Regional Council area in a recent 24-month period. 63.4%. Something desperately is wrong in the homes. A culture of disrespect towards women is a precursor to violence, which is why the coalition government is investing so heavily in prevention to stop violence before it begins, Mr. Colton said. This is about changing attitudes to violence and helping those who think violence is an option to stop. End of quote. Mr. Colton said his government was pleased to provide $1.1 million to the Western New South Wales Community Legal Center in Debo. Over $1 million, so it could offer legal assistance and other support services to women who were experiencing domestic violence. Don't preach at me, we hear. And yet $1 million over. The coalition government has made the largest ever Commonwealth investment of $328 million towards the national plan to reduce violence against women and their children, Mr. Colton said. He went on to say that $78 million will be spent providing emergency accommodation, $78 million, to women and children fleeing family violence. $68 million will go towards prevention strategies to stop violence before it occurs, and $64 million will be injected into counseling. He went on to say, and I quote, "We will provide further funding of $82 million to successful frontline services in local communities and $35 million in Indigenous-led support and prevention measures for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. This work builds on previous efforts by our government, including banning the direct cross-examination of women by their alleged perpetrator during family law proceedings, the introduction of domestic violence leave, extended early release of superannuation on compassionate grounds to survivors, providing no-interest loans to 45,000 women experiencing family domestic violence, and issuing over 7,000 visas for women and children overseas needing safe refuge. Since 2013, the government has spent more than $840 million to protect and support domestic violence victims and prevent the crime from occurring, Mr. Colton says. Again, let me quote here. "So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies." I don't find that too hard to understand. But somewhere along the way, society and governments have lost the plot. The Bible has the answer. Jesus Christ has the answer. Jesus is the way. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." Thank you for watching.